Hey guys, this is test 45 game 1. This is the Patterson workout game. It's an ordering game. All of our rules are just before and after. And we've got our 6 time slots 1 through 6 that Patterson is going to meet with people and then also have the workout. So I've got the 5 people, RSTUY, as well as the variable W for workout. Now, all of the rules here, ordering, like I said, we've got a lot of before-after rules here, so I'm just going to map those out on the side of the diagram to the right below it, really, I think is best. So we've got S before W, so I'll just diagram that S dash W. Whatever's before the dash is earlier than whatever's after it. We've got T after W, so I'm going to put down W dash T right here. Then we've got Y immediately before or immediately after W. So we kind of got a YW consecutive thing going on here where they're basically moving as a unit. So I'm going to make a little space here to put W and Y together. So we don't know exactly which one's going first there, but we do know that they are going consecutively, meaning that no one can go between them. Then finally, the last rule just tells us that use before are totally separate thing here. So if you're thinking of, your ordering games where you've got everyone connected together, that's not happening in this game. In this particular game, we have 2 separate ordering chains right here, one involving S, W, Y, and T, and then a separate one involving U and R. So you can map out the little restrictions if you like, like R can't go on 1, U can't go on 6, stuff like that. I don't really think it's worth the effort here. There's simply too many variables involved. So I'd leave it like this and move on to the questions, and then whichever question gives us enough specific information, we could put that on the diagram here right at the top with the 6 slots. But this is enough for our essentially our main diagram before moving on to the question 2. So this is the initial setup. Now question number 1 is a typical orientation question. You just want to take one rule at a time and apply that rule to all 5 choices looking for violations. So I think one of the easiest ones to look for is the fact that W and Y have to touch in either order. So any choice violating that rule is automatically eliminated. So the first choice is good on that issue, so is the second. But choice C has W touching S and T, not touching Y, unacceptable. So for that reason, C is eliminated for number 1. We move through the others, but no violations. Next, I would look for U before R. Scanning through the choices, do we ever not have that happening? And then in choice D, we have R before U violating that, so D is eliminated. E is good on that issue. Next, I would look for the general order. S is before the WYYW thing before T. So choice A has S all the way towards the end. S is not before WY, so A is gone. Next, I'd look at B. We have S before both W and Y, but not before T. So for that reason, B is eliminated, and E is our answer for number 1. Next, number 2, how many people could meet with P on 1? So we know that none of W, Y, and T could do it, so I'm going to cross off all of those. Again, of course, W is not even a person, but I don't even want to accidentally count W in my listing here, so I'm going to cross off those people or things because they could never go on 1, given that S is before them. Then we also know that R cannot go on 1 because U is before it. So R is gone, simply leaving us with S and U as the 2 people who could go on 1. So 2, choice B, is our answer for question number 2. Next, number 3, when can't U occur? So of course we know that U could go on 1, so A is gone. We know that U cannot go on 6, but of course 6 is not a choice here. So it might seem kind of confusing. I mean, you might think that you could go on any of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but you've got to remember that if U goes too late, we might not have room for all these guys coming after S as well. So U on 2 would still allow R and then the WY block to occur after it. However, if U went on 3, we'd run into a problem because the WY box could not go on 1 and 2 yet still have S before it. There wouldn't be any room because we would need 3 slots, not 2. So for that reason, W and Y have to go after U on 3, so they're occurring somewhere, of course, in either order. And then we've got to have t coming after them. That's w and y, not written very clearly there. My handwriting's awful with this. But we got w and y coming after u on 3. We've got t coming later. We've also got to fit r. So we've got w, y, t, and r all trying to fit on 4, 5, and 6. You can't have 4 people occurring in 3 spots. And then similarly, you have s occurring before u. But who else is going to go before you? I mean, if we have s on 1, we need somebody on 2. If we've got s on 2, we need somebody on 1. There just isn't enough room for you to be on 3, yet have everything else work out, given this WYYW rule. So for that reason, you cannot go on 3, so C is our answer to question number 3. Next, number 4, if S goes immediately before Y. So automatically we know that we're going to have SYW, not SWY. Additionally, of course, S is now consecutive with the YW box. So I'm going to draw SYW as a box occurring consecutively in that order. And that's all, of course, occurring before T. So this is the new state of affairs regarding the SWYT ordering. It's now much more specific. So they're asking us, could be true except. So 4 of these choices could be true. 1 of them cannot be true. I'll just run through them. Could we have R on 2? Well, if we had R on 2, we'd have U on 1, of course. Then we'd be able to fit SYWT on 3, 4, 5, 6. Works out perfectly fine, so A is eliminated. Could we have Y on 3? Well, if Y was on 3, we'd have S on 2, W on 4, U on 1 perhaps, and then T and R coming later. Works totally fine. B is gone. Then for C, T on 4. If we had T on 4, we'd have SYW on 1, 2, and 3, so SYWT. And then we'd have U and R on 5 and 6. Works out fine. C is eliminated. Now D, Y on 5. This is where we run into a problem. If Y is on 5, we got to have W on 6, S on 4, but there's no room for T. T has to come after this box due to the rule that the WY thing is occurring before T. No room for T occurring after the ordering, so D is impossible and is our answer to number 4. I will look at E though. If we had W on 2, we could then have, for E it says if T's on 6. If T's on 6, we could have SYW occurring somewhere before, have U before R occurring as well. Works out perfectly fine. E is eliminated. D is our answer to number 4. Next, number 5, if we had T on 4, what must be true? So if T's on 4, we've got to have S on 1, and then W on 2 and Y on 3, or we would have Y on 2 and W on 3. Then we have U on 5, R on 6. Everything works out totally fine. So 2 different ambiguity regarding what's happening on 2 and 3. Everything else is concrete. So they're likely to, if you look at the way the choices are worded, of course they're going to be asking us about something concrete as our must. So R on 5 does not happen. We have U on 5, so A is gone. U on 5, yes, of course, is definitely occurring right here. B is our answer to number 5. I will look at the rest though. Y on 2, no, there's ambiguity there. C is gone. Y on 3, again, there's ambiguity there. Y could be on 3 or on 2. And then, of course, E, W on 2, no, W could be on 3 as well. So E's gone, and B is our answer to number 5. Next, number 6, what could be the order from first to last? So this is just another orientation question, only this time they are neglecting to include W because they're referring only to people. So any time that you see Y, Yansky, listed in a choice, picture that W is immediately before it or immediately after. We don't know exactly where. So we're not going to test for compliance or violations for this, the WY rule, of course, this thing right here, because they're not talking about W. So we have to assume compliance and look for the other rules being violated. So I'm going to start by looking for U before R, running through the choices, looking for violations there. We see that choice C has R before U, unacceptable, so C is eliminated. Next, let's look for S occurring before Y. Again, they're not talking about W here. A has Y before S, unacceptable, eliminated. checking for S before Y and the rest, we're all good there. I would next look for Y occurring before T, because that has to happen. So Y before T is violated in choice B as in boy. We've got T before Y, not Y before T. So B is gone. I'll check again and then look again in choice D. We have T before Y as well. Unacceptable. We need Y before T. So D is gone, leaving E as our answer to number 6.